Make yourself comfortable. Take your time. There's nothing you need to do anymore. Today is over. You made it. Can you hear the rain? I always think rainy evenings are the best time to read. Everything feels quieter, slower, safer. I brought our book again. I kept your place, right where we left it. I was hoping you'd come back tonight. Every night I read one chapter until you fall asleep. Tonight we'll begin our very first one. It's called The Little House with Warm Windows. Let's begin. Long before anyone discovered that little house, there was only the forest, a quiet, endless, peaceful forest, the kind of place where nothing ever seemed to hurry. Even the rain always fell slowly, almost as if it didn't want to wake anyone. Every morning, tiny drops rested on the pine branches, shining softly, like little stars that had forgotten to disappear. The air always smelled of fresh wood, rain, and warm earth. No loud voices, no busy roads, only the gentle sound of leaves moving together with the wind. Sometimes I like to imagine that if we stayed there long enough, we would completely forget what it feels like to be in a hurry. Deep inside that peaceful forest, where the trees quietly protected one another, there was a narrow little path. Most people never noticed it, not because it was hidden, but because they were always looking somewhere else, always thinking about tomorrow or yesterday, instead of what was right in front of them. The little path wasn't made of stone or bricks, only soft earth covered with pine needles that made every step feel gentle. If you followed it slowly, without rushing, eventually you would begin to see a warm golden light glowing softly between the trees. Not bright enough to call you, just warm enough to make you curious. The closer you came, the warmer the light became. Not brighter, just warmer, like someone had quietly lit a candle, knowing you would arrive. The little house wasn't large. It didn't need to be. It had one small porch, one wooden door, and one window glowing with the softest golden light. The rain gently tapped against the roof, as if it had done so every evening for hundreds of years. Nothing about the house asked for attention. It simply waited, patiently, as though it already knew someone would need it tonight. There was no sign on the door, no name, no number, only an old brass handle, polished smooth by countless gentle hands. When the door slowly opened, there was no sound, only warmth, the kind of warmth that reaches you before you even step inside. The smell of old paper, fresh tea, wood, and rain all welcomed you at once. Some places don't ask who you are. They simply make you feel like you finally come home. Just inside the doorway, a little lamp quietly filled the room with golden light. It wasn't very bright. It didn't need to be. Every shadow felt soft. Every corner felt peaceful. There was a small wooden table, 2 warm cups waiting, as if someone had already expected company. Near the fireplace, a thick blanket rested over an old chair, and beside it, another chair, still empty, almost as if it had been waiting just for you. Maybe tonight you'll finally sit down just beyond the chairs. A quiet fireplace filled the room with gentle light. The flames didn't rush. They danced slowly, as if they too were getting ready for sleep. Every now and then, a tiny piece of wood would softly crack. Then everything became quiet again. No silence ever felt empty here. It was always filled with warmth, with peaceful thoughts, and with the feeling that there was nowhere else you needed to be. Sometimes the kindest places are also the quietest ones. On the little wooden table, there was a teapot, still warm. Beside it, 2 simple cups. No one remembered who placed the second one there. It had always been waiting. Every evening, every season, as if someone quietly believed that one day no one would have to drink tea alone. The room never expected anything from its guests. It only welcomed them exactly as they were. Near the window, a few tiny raindrops slowly traced their way down the glass. One, then another. The outside world looked far away now, almost forgotten. Inside, only the soft light waiting to be turned. I think this house has been waiting for us for a very long time. Shall we read one more page? Before the next page was turned, the little house grew even quieter. Not empty quiet, not lonely quiet, a soft kind of quiet, the kind that gently wraps around your shoulders like a warm blanket. The old chair near the fire made a tiny sound, as if it was settling in for the night. The teapot gave one last sleepy breath, and the rain kept tapping softly against the window, again and again and again. It was the kind of room where even time seemed to speak more softly. On one of the bookshelves, there was a tiny clock. It was old and a little uneven, but it never seemed to be in a hurry. Its hands moved slowly, patiently, as if every minute deserved to be felt, not counted. In that house, time didn't push anyone forward. It simply stayed nearby, quiet, gentle, waiting. And for the first time in a long while, it felt okay to stop. The books on the shelves were not perfectly arranged. Some leaned to the left, some leaned to the right. A few had ribbons hanging from their pages, and one small book had a pressed flower resting inside. No one knew who placed it there or when, but it had stayed there quietly between two pages, keeping its little memory safe. Maybe every book in that house was holding something gentle for someone who needed it. The old wooden floor remembered every gentle step, not because it was worn, but because it had welcomed so many quiet evenings. No one ever hurried here. No one ever ran. The house seemed to ask for only one thing: slow down, breathe, stay for a while. Some homes protect you from the rain. This one felt as though it protected you from the whole world. There was a small wooden shelf, not filled with expensive things, just little treasures. A smooth stone, a tiny feather, a dried flower, a seashell, each one quietly resting, as if someone had collected beautiful memories instead of beautiful objects. Maybe the happiest people notice the smallest things. Outside, the rain continued to fall. Inside, the fire still glowed softly. The tea was still warm, and the little house felt exactly the same, as if it never changed, as if every evening it quietly waited for this moment, for this page, for this peaceful silence. Some places don't become special because they are different. They become special because they are always there, waiting for you. The little house didn't promise perfect days. It didn't promise that life would always be easy. It offered something much simpler, a quiet place where you could rest for a while, where no one expected anything from you, where silence was never uncomfortable, and where every evening a warm light would always be waiting just beyond the window. Sometimes that's more than enough. I think everyone deserves a place like this, a place where the rain sounds gentle, where the tea is always warm, and where no one asks you to be anything other than yourself. Maybe that's why this little house has never disappeared, because somewhere, someone always needs it. Maybe tonight, that someone was you. And that's where we'll leave our story tonight. Tomorrow, we'll open the next chapter together. I think you'll like what's waiting for us. I'll keep your place exactly where we sentenced. Thank you for spending this quiet evening with me. Sleep well, and I'll see you tomorrow night.